to Costa Rica Crypto. My name is Matt. I wanted to start a new channel where things can be talked about that were a little bit more relatable to the common man. I think a lot of crypto channels out there are really good information, but I think for me, when I kind of got into crypto, I struggled to understand a lot of what people are talking about. So I thought to create a channel that ultimately broke things down and made it a little bit more digestible to common people was something that I was really passionate about. I definitely have my favorite coins. I definitely have lots to talk about, but today I actually wanted to kick this off by talking about a project which has kind of caught my eye in the last couple of months, maybe 2-3 months. I'll let you guys know, first off, I am a holder of EOS. I love EOS. I think it's a great blockchain, and I think it's capable of some really big things. I think it's probably going to do a lot to change the way that cryptocurrency operates and the way that we actually use cryptocurrency. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but if any of you guys are my Ethernet wallet users, with a lot of the Ethereum's transactions slowing down, you know, Ethereum has been a little bit harder to use in terms of, you know, getting transactions signed and everything done. EOS, you know, block.one built a software in order to run the EOS blockchain, which is actually scalable up to hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. And I thought that was really cool because there's a countless amount of possibilities. However, when I really kind of started taking things apart a little bit, I had to start to ask myself a few questions, you know, and the questions that I was asking were based on what a lot of the community was talking about, right? The whole goal of cryptocurrency, at least certain cryptocurrencies, is decentralization. And while EOS is an excellent system, there's a few flaws in EOS, and I don't think it's necessarily gonna be a detriment to EOS, but I just think that there might be a way to do it better. And one of the projects that I've been kind of interested in and I've been following is actually EvolutionOS. So EvolutionOS took the software from EOS and they're creating their own chain, which is going to launch using the same technology as EOS, and that's going to be happening. I'm not sure exactly when. They haven't released a date necessarily, but they've already started their airdrop. And there's a few things that really kind of brought me to the EOS project, that really kind of Evolution project that really kind of piqued my interest. So anybody who's familiar with EOS knows that the launch has been kind of an interesting thing to follow. It's been weird, you know. It's not necessarily been weird, but it's been very up and down, right? As I said, I'm a holder of EOS. I believe in EOS, but there were a couple of things that really struck me that could cause potential issues. And EvolutionOS, which, as I said, it's another blockchain that's run using the same software from block.one, so essentially the same capabilities of EOS, came up with an idea on how they might possibly be able to fix some of these issues and maybe do things better. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in this video, on how exactly they've taken the EOS software and they've kind of tweaked some of the constitution. And it's a really interesting project in the sense that I think that it fixes some of the inherent flaws with EOS. I've made a couple of notes in front of me, so you might see me glance up to my computer every once in a while, but I just wanted to make sure I had something organized and at least relatively coherent for you guys. So a few problems that have kind of been pointed out with EOS are the possibility of block producer collusion. So block producers are the people that verify the transactions that go from point A to point B, and sign them off and mark them as secured, right? And one of the things that EOS has done is it has allowed exchanges to be block producers. And while exchanges are extremely well funded and they have a ton of money, they also have a ton of your tokens, right? At any given time, there's a certain amount of EOS tokens that are sitting on that exchange that the exchanges rather have inside of their wallet that they can use to vote. So if a block producer decides that they want to become a BP and they want to take your tokens that you're keeping, let's just say on Binance or whatever else, and they want to take those and they want to shoot them off and they want to vote for themselves, it kind of causes some issues. So one of the things that Evolution has actually done has skimmed out, they've said no exchange block producers, which was kind of a really interesting step, and a pretty intelligent step if you ask me, if you're looking to avoid a lot of the possibilities of collusion. Because you gotta, you know, despite the technology, you have to look at human incentives, right? Are exchanges incentivized to vote for themselves? And the answer is clearly absolutely they are, right? And and of course I'm sure exchanges have their own tokens, but they also have the possibility of using your tokens that are stored locally on that exchange, because when you trade on an exchange, you're essentially trading with an IOU of the token that's stored on a separate wallet of the exchange. So one of the things that they did is they said, we're not going to allow any block producers, any exchanges to be block producers because of the possibility of collusion. So I thought that was pretty cool. Another thing was the distribution of EOS. So Evolution looked at the way that EOS was distributed over their 1 year long ICO, and they kind of decided that maybe they could do things better. Maybe they could do things a little bit more differently, and that would kind of induce the community to be a lot more stronger. So what they did was they took the snapshot of May 10th, and anybody holding over 25 EOS tokens in their wallet was located actually 12,000, I have the number here, 12,200 and something, whatever, like 12,200 and something tokens, and they gave that out to each separate account. So they actually distributed that into each separate account, and basically gave everybody a fair shake at being involved in Evolution, and that was any token holder of EOS that had 25 tokens or more. So I thought that was pretty interesting too, because it really changes the dynamics of the community. Typically speaking, it's going to do a lot to eliminate whales and those big holders with the major power behind them to be able to make certain decisions. Another thing that they did by eliminating exchanges is that they eliminated the chance that block producers who may not be running for BB can collaborate with exchanges in order to get votes. So I thought that was kind of a cool move, and the project is still new. They're still working on a lot of things. There's still information being released all the time. It's Burrito, my senior Burrito, my French bulldog, barking. So I thought that was kind of cool too. There's a few different things that they're also considering and they're talking about right now, which is in regards to the voting weight per person, right? And some of the things that they've kind of debated is, should one token have the opportunity to vote 30 times? And I know right now they're looking in anywhere from, they're looking at different ranges and seeing how that might kind of affect the mechanics of the community. And if you ask me, I think it's a really smart idea, because I think that if you decrease the amount of votes that each token has, I think people just tend to put a little bit more thought into it. I know I did vote using EOS Portal with my EOS tokens through Scatter, but there were so many options, and I kind of felt like I had to choose 30, and I did do a lot of research, but I think that if I had to choose less than 30, I think that I probably would have taken the time to really put some intention behind my votes. So that's also another kind of cool thing that they're looking at changing right now in the Evolution token. That's going to kind of be pretty cool if you ask me. What they're trying to do essentially is just solve some of the decentralization issues with EOS. They want to make sure that they spread the votes around a little bit more and give more people the opportunity to be able to have their say and involve more people in the community. So I've really got my eyes on them. I think it's a super, super intriguing project, and I've heard a bunch of different FUD. Some guys were complaining because each account that had 25 EOS was given 12,000 tokens, so therefore you could have broken your account up into various tokens. But the beautiful thing about the token release is that they didn't necessarily talk about the amount that they were releasing. So you're probably wondering how exactly are Evolution going to try to tackle some of the problems of centralization within EOS, and they've come up with a few different things, one of which is creating 100 different block producers and the availability of 100 different block producers. So that's going to allow some of the smaller block producers that have the equipment, have the knowledge, and maybe just didn't have the same resources to start up with, to get a fair shake at producing blocks, which I think is a pretty intriguing concept. And of course, distributing the tokens equally amongst all people was another way that they wanted to try to tackle it and try to kind of build more of a community vibe. One of the interesting things that I've heard from the EOS community that they've actually said about Evolution is that they don't have any block producers. Well, the interesting response to that is that EOS is only going to have their 21 block producers with their backups, of course, but there's nothing in the constitution of EOS or anywhere else that says that they can't equally go out and produce blocks for evolution either at the same time or at a different time. So even though they may not necessarily have any block producer candidates lined up, the project is still in development. There's still a lot of time to do that, and after the elections there's going to be quite a few people to choose from, and as I said, as long as they have the adequate capacity to be able to produce blocks for evolution, they can do so on both chains. Either way, any way you look at it, evolution is super intriguing, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they develop and how the community starts to evolve. And I'd love to hear what you guys think. Leave your comments below, mash the subscribe button and mash the like button, and drop any ideas you'd like to see for future videos. I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.